Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 2 of my survival multiplayer series here on the Spinalcraft server. My name's Exonerated, and we're getting underway with some of the projects that I discussed in our server tour in yesterday's episode 1. We're going to go ahead and get underway today with a sugarcane / reed farm, whatever you want to call it, project. I've got this expanse of land over here that we're not using. And what I'd really like to do is change it over into a sugarcane farm. Let me get up here. I want the sugarcane farm to be as tall as the sheep farm. I want two sections of it. I want one section to run right here and another section to run along this way. And the idea is that the farm itself auto-harvest. I'm going to have it harvest once a day, once a Minecraft day. And what it'll do is it'll go through and all of the drops will be fed down into a central fill that will go this direction. And there will be a storage area under here so that we can come through and collect everything, make all the paper we want, or, you know, just whatever. For storage, I just want to make sure we have tons of storage because it is going to be auto-harvesting itself. So we're going to go ahead and get set up for that. I'm going to get some supplies together and we'll get underway with that. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I just wanted to show you guys, remember we're over near the 4K wheat farm. The exterior here, we had two wheat harvest, or sugarcane rather, harvesting sections. And that's what we actually removed today. Going from the minecart with the hopper version, we're going to switch it over to do an Exumavoid version. You're all pretty familiar with it, with the ice underneath and the water. The design's going to kind of be my own, so, and I am catching a little frame rate lag, and I apologize for that. Not quite sure what that's about. Going to be right back. Alright, let's try this again. Alright, we're getting a little bit of frame rate. Wow, we are dropping down. I'm getting a little frame rate lag. Not quite sure what the cause of it is. I was running around 300 or so frames per second, and it seems to have smoothed off a little bit. I had another client open. I was going to do some kind of modeling in a creative world while I was doing this, and I don't think it liked that one bit. So what we're doing is I've got some materials here, and I'm going to set up this beacon so I can go through and gut out this mountain in peace. Whoop, one too many. If I thought I would use this beacon on a more regular basis, I would just leave it here or put it underground, like I did that one over there. And I know you're asking, why not just change that one over there to haste and expedite things? It's not actually close enough to get all of this mountain, which is a shame. I really feel like if you do a multiple tiered beacon, you should get a reach increase. Whoops, and we're one short. I feel like if you're going to put 164 blocks of iron into something, or any metal for that matter, you should be able to get more than 50 blocks out of reach. I'm not asking for a huge bump. 100 would be fantastic. Even if you wanted to do it by chunks and say, do 5 chunks at 16 blocks of chunks, so you're looking at an 80 block radius, at least that would make some sort of sense. But 50 blocks from where you start now just doesn't seem like it's enough for the amount of effort and time you have to go in just to get a beacon. Well, at least normally. Alright, so that is up there. Let me grab some iron. I keep some over here next to the sheep farm because we use it to shear often, and that way don't have to keep running back and forth to the iron golem farms over there. So up we go. And we're going to set this to haste 2. There we go. And so what I'm going to do now is I am going to start knocking down some more of this mountain, get some land all cleared out, and I will be right back. Alrighty, we have got our space cleared out. Haven't really worked out the dimensions yet, but that's next. We're going to go ahead and set up how we want our farm to lay out. If we're going to use ice and we want water involved, and we do, then the most you're going to get from a run of water is 8 blocks. So if we go through and pick the wrong item, there we go. We go through and put our water source there, assuming that our wiring's in this back row. But you know what? Let's give ourselves 2 rows. Okay, so this is going to be the water source blocks that we've got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, because you've got to include this one. So this is 8 blocks. So this right here is what we're looking at for a tier for the water to actually run off. If we go through and we have our water set up to do this number, where the water source blocks start from here. Actually, there's not going to be any water source blocks there. We'll go over that in a minute. So we're going to have water source blocks there. And again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's going to be this way. So that was perfect. So the way we have it set up now, we give ourselves 2 blocks back here for wiring. And of course, we can always dig out the mountain a little bit more if we want to. And then we have our sugarcane reeds coming out this far. Now, that's not very long if you look at it. This run right here, we've got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 blocks long. We can go longer than that with the redstone, but I think we want to go shorter and instead do a secondary run. So it's not just enough to have, say, these right here. We're going to go through, have this go 10 blocks. And then from the other direction, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 blocks also. We're going to skip these 2. And these again we're just lining up our water sources. So if this was filled in, actually this would be here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's do this. Let's give ourselves a gap. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is number 11 then. And just to make sure there's 5 and there's 5. Yep, we're good. So there's a gap here. And then we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whoops. Out of torches. Let me scoop these up. Okay, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Alright, so what we've got going on here is we've got 2 sections of farm, of sugar cane farm. Well, 2 corners rather. If you remember, Zoomovoid's model has the blocks staggered. So you have one here, and then say the other one's here, and then here, and then here. And that's a great model to work from, but we want something to be awe-inspiring. And again, we don't really care about loss so much as long as we get an ample amount of sugarcane. We don't really care how much we lose. So we're going to do the same split over on this side. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 10, so that's a break. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wow, that's exactly 10. Again, no water sources here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we use cobble. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Our gap here lines up with our gap right there. That's sneaky skeleton. There we go. So basically what we want here is we want 4 triangles of sugarcane. And we want them all to feed into the middle. And I am catching unbelievable lag. I'm sorry about that. We want them all to feed into the middle. And the idea is that they're all going to come into a center square here, funnel down, run an ice tunnel over to there where I can pick them all up. I'm even actually contemplating just running the ice tunnel straight over to our villager farm over there. I think that would be a great idea, but we'll see where we end up. Until the mobs are bored. So, what I'm going to go ahead and do is kind of get the base for this started, and then we'll start going over some of the wiring. And of course, we'll let the rain pass. I'll be back in a little bit. Alright, I'm back. Been doing a little bit of work here, a little bit of progress. So what I decided to do was, instead of ice, I'm going to go ahead and use the stone brick. I like the look of it better, and frankly, I don't feel like the ice adds enough to it. I don't really feel like it's necessary to burn so much ice. If you have done an iron golem farm at all, and by iron golem farm, I mean the traditional Doc M Zip Proud style iron golem farm, you'll know that in the corners you can't actually put water sources all the way up in these bottom 4 squares, because it will go through and automatically fill in the entire area. So what you're going to do in these corners is go through and just raise the water source block up one. It doesn't actually create a source underneath of it, so it prevents the farm itself from actually turning all into source blocks and you having stagnant water. Keeps everything pushing nice and straight into the middle, which is absolutely what we want. You can tell we've got a gap here in the middle. I'm not sure the gap yet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Gap is 9 blocks wide, which is fine. We're actually going to go through, well, I'm going to actually go through, back this up a little bit, recess it down one more level, and then make it so that all the water ends up funneling into a single point. A single point that doesn't involve knocking all the holes out at one time. So I'm gonna go through and do some more digging, and we're gonna get to that point, and I'll be back. Hopefully the rain will be over. It still hasn't ended, but get to that point and show you where I'm going from there. Alrighty, we are done here lowering this inner tier. All I did was go through and put a little border up to keep the water flowing. I didn't want to shut that down. I guess I could have taken it out, but it's just more work than it's worth. So, moment of truth here. Got a torch in the middle. If I did this right, we have our water come through and fill all the way into the middle and leave the middle empty. And then that way we can use that as our drop point, which it looks like we are good to go. So we'll be able to use this middle point here as a collection source for all of our sugar cane that we have popping off all the way around us. So next thing we need to do after I collect, oh, they're all out. The next thing we need to do then is go ahead and get ready to start setting up our outside edges. We want to make sure that we have the pistons and everything lined up in a working way so that we don't have any kind of real loss. I know initially I said I was going to go around the edges and I wasn't going to stagger them. I think I'm still going to go with that. I wanted to give myself room to build a wall, and I'm not sure if I'm going to have it on this side. But nonetheless, we're going to go ahead and go with it. We've already committed ourselves pretty far into the project already, so the rest of it should be kind of easy. At any rate, I'm going to go ahead and start working on a level here and see if I can't get at least one corner set up for you, and then we'll go from there. Okay, welcome back. If you've noticed, there should be a little bit of a difference with my microphone. I noticed in my first episode I had some trouble with some volume, and so I decided to go ahead and make some tweaks, some adjustments, and I think we've got it. I want to give you a preview of what I have going on for each corner. These are the setups I have. Essentially, it's just set up just like a piston wall would be for the old school tree farms. And so I have them set up with inverted redstone torches, and they all tie into one column. What I'd like to do is just go through and give you a build example, rather, of how I got it together. So the first thing I wanted to do was make the well for the sugarcane water to sit in. And again, these rows are 10 wide, so wanted to go through and get that situated. There we go. Alright, and we're going to fill it up with water. Why? Because, well, you have to. And one more. Not there, of course. There works much better. Alright, then what we're going to do is we want to go ahead and give ourselves a place to let the sugarcane be itself. And by that I mean we have to leave this bottom layer set up so that the sugarcane can actually grow. We're going to go ahead and set up our pistons on the row here. And again, these are rows of 10. And here we go. Alright. Sugarcane is up. One of the things I want to do is to help keep the water contained for the next level. Go ahead and just keep pillaring up these outside rows that I have between each section. You're going to need them. Alright, next we are going to knock out a bit of that wall, or at least we're going to have to. So what we're going to do is set up these pistons. We want to be able to control them pulsing out, so we're going to set up some inverted redstone for that to happen. Those redstone torches are on. We're going to bring these across, and what we're going to do now is, I swear this will work. There we go. I'm just trying to keep the extra blocks out of my way. Alright, so what I want to do is continue to build up this inside wall, because I don't want anything at all falling down. I want it all to fall off and hit the water. There's no sense in having stuff over here all hung up. So we're going to go like this, and what we want to do is put this torch in the middle here, and that's the inversion right there. So you notice this torch will always be active, and we've got our row all set up, good to go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to knock out that torch real quick. We're going to go ahead and prep the second row here. We're going to do that with the piston extended. We're going to use that as our block spacer so that we can see where our dirt's supposed to go. Each of these rows is only going to be 2 high. I do not want to pile them up 3 high. It seems to me that when they start going up that high that you end up running into a lot of issues with things not getting knocked off the platform properly. So what I've done is I've gone through, closed off each end, and closed off the back in stone brick. Again, we are not clicking properly. We're going through and setting up our water. We've got our water all set up. We're going to take our bricks, come along. Again, we continue to build out, or build up rather, this outside retaining wall. We're going to need that. And pistons in place. They are good to go. And while we're here, we might as well go ahead and put up our sugar cane. And we're going to jump over and come up this way. Now we need to set up our inverted torches again, so we're going to come through and I'll just build off this wall for the time being. And 10, and there is one too many. There we go, that's 10. Going to come along with our redstone here. Now, what we want to do is be able to piggyback off this torch down here so that we can control everything with one switch. So how do we do that? Well, we're going to go ahead and use a torch tower. So I put a block up here. Notice this torch is off because the torch below it is still on. It's powering this block, which turns off this torch. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to leave a block right there, just for now. We're going to go ahead and set up our, and I knocked out one too many. we're going to go ahead. Did that knock some redstone? That knocked one torch out. There we go. It's fixed. And of course, I'm going to leave myself no way. I'll just pillar up right here for now. So what we do now is we go through, we do our little letter L on the outside here. We've got to be able to take this torch and have it control this line. So what we're going to do is put a torch on the outside of this column. The torch under it is off, which means this block has no power to it, which means this torch can carry an active redstone signal. Notice if I connect the line to it, just like the bottom line, the redstone's powered, so the torches are off, so the blocks can retract. The idea is we want to be able to continue to power off the same set of redstone going all the way up the column. So the only way to do that is to piggyback off of it. Then what we'll do is we'll come down underneath each of the four corners here and connect everything up to one line. But as you can see, as soon as I get back up and around, that is, it doesn't take long for that sugarcane to grow. And the hope is that we are going to have it set up on a timer that goes off once a day, and we'll use a pulse shortener to make sure that it doesn't just stay extended needlessly. We want it to pop and cut off. And so I'll show you how to build one of those, and then what I'm going to do in the interim. So I'm going to go ahead and build a couple of levels, and then I'll show you how I'm going to connect everything together so that we can have one automatic timer to do all of our work for us. So take another break, and I'll be back in a little bit. Well, I'm back, and yeah, boy did I mess up, and I'll show you what I did in just a moment. But we've got everything set up just to this test switch here, just to kind of show you how it should work. Basically, you see the pistons are retracted in, or not retracted, but at any rate, the pistons are ready to go. Flick the lever, the pistons push out, everything goes into the middle, and Bob's your uncle. One of the things rather that I didn't pick up when I was building it, and I know some of you probably saw it and just shook your head. If I put a full block on a torch like this, with the redstone on the back, if at any point in time this redstone activates, even though it takes the power out of this torch, it ends up shorting the torch out, and the whole row of pistons spazzes out. In order to prevent that, instead of having a full-size block on the back here, you can do a stair, or you can do a half slab, and then everything works just fine. I went with the half slab, and I corrected it on this other side too. Now I just need to go through and do it on this other side, and I'll be good to go. So let me get this changed, and then I will connect the two corners rather, together, and I'll show you how I'm going to connect those. Okay, so back again. Basically what I've done is I've gone through and I've pulled out that full block on that row of pistons there for the water source, so that we don't have those blocks spazzing out. And I want to be able to carry down now a signal. So I'm going to knock out every other block here. I'm going to replace this bottom one with a stone brick too. I like to do that as a general rule, just to make sure that the blocks above it, I think I missed one here. I like to do that as a general rule. I did. I went one too far. So let's fix this real quick. One right there. The other one will be right there. And there we go. Okay. So basically, as a rule, I like to keep everything with redstone on a stone block. I do not like to have it just laying around on the grass. I like to make sure that my blocks are kind of all set up. So what we're going to do here is we're going to come along this back row, and we are going to set up a redstone chain so that we can connect different sides together. We want everything to hook up to the same spot. And in order to do that, we've got to be able to connect them together. Don't ask me why I'm bulldozing that whole dirt ground there. I'm sure I'm going to need it cut out anyway, simply because when I go to connect these other corners, I need to be able to. So at least I have an idea of where the run should go. We're going to take that out. And we have the torch here. And then we have this other torch over here, one lower. So I definitely want to run the redstone this way. So what we need to do is set this up so that the power runs directly into this torch. I'm going to use a redstone repeater to do that. So now when I add power to this redstone repeater, it'll power this block, turning off the torch, and the torches on the way up will alternate. So we're going to run this down. I'm going to go ahead and throw in another repeater. And one more. Why the heck not? Alright, and we're at the beacon here. Now this line leads to this torch right here. And this torch, needs to be inverted. I believe we've got two different signals. One should be, yep, this side's extended and that side's retracted. We want to get them on the same page, and we do that by making sure they both have the torch down at the bottom in the same place. Now, what I want is I want this set of redstone torch here to activate. So I'm just going to go ahead and carry this line down using two repeaters to get past, so they can both feed from the same source. Now if I come through and I put a torch down, you'll see not only does this torch go off, but the one all the way around the corner here also goes off, which means now I can activate these two sides with just applying of a redstone signal right here. This right here, going straight up, is where we're going to hook our daylight sensor along with our pulse shortener in order to get just a quick pulse for our reed farm here. So I am going to get the mats together for that and hook that up in the next episode. But for now, I just wanted to kind of give you an idea of where we're going with this. I've got the sugar cane going, rather. I've got two sides started. And again, I want to make these as tall as this sheep farm here. And somehow I have got sheep on the edge of the sheep farm. I wonder if that's a visual bug. I'm going to have to play with that. At any rate, we're going to go through in the next episode. As I said, I'll show you how far along I've come. I should be making plenty of progress by the time the next episode comes out, and see just how tall we can get it. We can go ahead and check this middle just from playing with a little bit. We had 3, and now we have 27. So just that little bit of playing has netted us, 24 sugarcane. That's not too shabby at all. And it's already grown back. You can see where it was just harvested, and it's already grown back. So I want to thank you all for watching the episode. Please, if you don't forget to leave a like. It helps me out tremendously. Share it with your friends and neighbors. Let them know that we're here on Spinalcraft doing our thing. I'm not the only one. I'm actually going to go through in this episode and share a link to some of the other channels that are also recording survival multiplayer on the Spinalcraft server. So that being said, I hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.